Rafi Devers has been a bad teammate this year. He's not willing to make sacrifices to help the team get better. And we can rush to his defense all we want, but the bottom line is always going to be that. He has been asked to do something that will help the team and won't really hurt him, and he is refusing to do it. And for a team that's ready to win, a fan base that's ready to win and get back to the postseason, a team that says they're ready to get back to the postseason, the ownership, the front office, the manager, and right in front of your face, your star players aren't willing to make winning sacrifices, that's frustrating. And I think of a guy like Alex Bregman, who's sitting in there with his 2 World Series rings, who goes to the playoffs every single year of his career, has been to the ALCS all but 1 or 2 of his seasons. And he's got to be sitting there like, how am I supposed to win with this kind of attitude? In Houston, we all bought in. Man, we were all making sacrifices. And here is the guy that's faced the franchise not willing to play first base, which isn't easy, but it is kind of the easiest one that he can go and learn. He's already played one corner of the infield. Like, here's a guy we're not even asking him to be great out there. We just need someone to play every day that we can have a major league lineup, because if he's not out there and he's DHing, that means we have a quadruple A hitter out there every single day. Could give a shit less how he plays at first base. But that now puts, Masa Yoshida in the lineup potentially. It now puts Roman Anthony in the lineup potentially, Marcelo Meyer in the lineup potentially. We don't care if he plays defensively at first base and he's not willing to do it. Like, that's got to be frustrating for the guys in the locker room, in the clubhouse. But what did Rafi Devers do this weekend? He basically carried you to a series victory. Okay, like, after you couldn't score a run against Kansas City in 12 innings on Friday night, and you had their 2 best starters coming up after that, Devers, all he does in the series is hit 600, 1,500 OPS, 6 RBI, a double, a home run, a 2-run go-ahead homer in Sunday's game that gives him a 2-run victory. He's carried them through this series. A series that ownership needed to make the trip to in order to talk to this guy. This is where it got real ridiculous, man. The FSG and John Henry ownership group flying to Kansas City so that he could meet with his GM and his manager and star player to get on the same page. Like, that's just doesn't sound like a winning organization to me. And Kevin Millar had a great rant about it. And I can't play it because it's a little long and it's going to get me flagged on YouTube. But he said, look, we went through the same thing with Manny Ramirez. He wouldn't show up for a series, like physically wouldn't show up. He was a worse teammate than Rafi Devers. But like, this is just a little bit of a taste of what it was like with Manny Ramirez. And we didn't hear a lot about it outside of the locker room because they were really good and, all this. But Manny was a flake. Manny was not a good teammate at any point in his career. He was an absolute clubhouse cancer, and he was also the best hitter on the team for pretty much the entire time he was with the Red Sox. He's one of the best right-handed hitters in baseball, one of the best right-handed hitters in the history of baseball. And so they dealt with it. They put up with his crap. They just had to stick him in left field because that's the only thing he could kind of manage. And they already had a DH in David Ortiz, a guy who couldn't play in the field, unlike Rafi Devers. He was a guy you withstood the crap from for a long time because he was very, very good. And they had good leaders on that team for the most part. They had a really good players manager. I know everyone thinks Alex Cora is that. Terry Francona definitely was that. It is that, I'm sure still. You had good leadership in place for those teams. But this is a little bit of a taste of what it was like with Manny Ramirez. Rafi Devers hasn't, assaulted any women that we know of yet, like Manny did. But this is a little bit of a taste of what that was like and what the team is willing to do to cover the bases here, make sure we're on the right page, and basically shut him up because he's such a talented hitter. I don't necessarily want another Manny Ramirez on my team if you are going to ask me. But if you already have one and you're saying, would you trade Manny Ramirez? I wouldn't do it. And that's why I think this trade rumor stuff from Red Sox fans, I should say, is crazy. I said on Friday's show, I wouldn't be surprised if he puts in another trade request because he almost put one in the offseason at the first position change ask. And we said, this isn't going away. There's some rift here. There's some drama here. And look, it didn't go away. It's more prevalent than ever. So I wouldn't be surprised if he's trying to force his way out. But if this is a case of, which I've heard on Sports Talk Radio and I've heard from Red Sox fans, if this is a case of, oh man, he's bitching again, let's trade him, that's not going to happen. It's not going to happen. It took 8.5 seasons to do that for Manny. 8.5 seasons and 2 World Series later to do that with Manny. This is year 1 of discontent and disgruntled superstar Rafi Devers' career. But this has just a ton of parallels to it. A ton of parallels to the Manny Ramirez situations. Now, again, Rafi has not gone AWOL on a series yet, a series against the Yankees, which is what Kevin Millar was talking about in that specific rant. But like those guys didn't like him. Those guys were ready to, like with Manny I'm talking about, those guys were ready to be like, we'll play without him. Like we'll put Gabe Kapler in left field every day. We don't care. We're sick of this guy. I wonder how far away the Red Sox teammates are from that with Rafi Devers, because he seems like a nicer guy than Manny, but the proof is in the pudding with the drama he's putting out in the locker room. This is a taste of Manny Ramirez right here. And it's a throwback to Red Sox culture of old. Like they've always had prickly guys like this. They have always had guys who would become unlikable to the fans after a certain amount of time and a certain amount of bitching. Okay, it was Manny. It was Roger Clemens, big time. It was Yaz to a certain extent, although he's still pretty beloved, not the same extent, but you know what I mean? It goes on through generations. It went on with Wade Boggs at the end. You know, it happens. But this is just a little bit of a taste of what it was like with Manny Ramirez on the team. And hopefully it leads to the World Series titles that Manny also captured. But this is Rafi being Rafi. Let me know what you guys think in the comment section below. Is this anything close to the Manny Ramirez situation? And does his play in this Royals series cover up the drama he's been putting out in this clubhouse and around this team? Let me know in the comment section below. Be sure to like the video, subscribe to the channel. It's completely free and it helps me keep my job and helps us on the march towards 4,000 subscribers. Thank you so much for making it a part of your routine. Check out the other videos on the channel. I'm your host, Cam Stewart. Zach Burke keeps us on the air. You can find us live on YouTube every weekday and then where you get your podcasts as well.